The void of space was silent, so silent that the sudden flicker of a distant probe streaking across the stars sounded almost like a shout. Deep within the crystalline expanse of the distant Zarian system, alien engineers adjusted a shimmering console. A pulse of energy, meant to be a friendly greeting, leaped from the probe's core. It danced like liquid light, spilling across the darkness, leaving a trail that shimmered with 1,000 colors alien to human eyes. To them, it was harmless as simple hello across the void. But a fault in the probe's quantum translator twisted the signal. What should have been melodic tones of curiosity became jagged bursts of data, a chaotic sequence that, by the time it reached Earth, screamed hostility. Back on Earth, in the remote Atacama Desert Observatory, Dr. Ilara Miles stared at the monitors, her eyes wide as the flickering waveforms danced across the screens. Satellites overhead picked up the pulse, tracing its trajectory. Her fingers trembled slightly over the keyboard. "This isn't just noise," she whispered, voice tight. This is intentional." Her team exchanged glances. The room was filled with the low hum of computers and satellites adjusting in orbit. Outside, the desert winds swept like whispers across the barren landscape. Every instrument they had screamed that the pulse originated from an intelligent source, one far beyond human reach. From space, the signal curved toward Earth, invisible, yet unavoidable, like a predator stalking its prey. The alien engineers cheered, oblivious to the danger. Their signal was supposed to be a gentle invitation, but its garbled rhythm carried the unmistakable cadence of aggression, somewhere across light years. The message was about to ignite a war they had never intended. Dr. Miles leaned closer to the main console. "We need to alert command," she said, her voice firm despite the tension curling in her stomach. Outside, the observatory's thick glass, the sun dipped below jagged mountains, casting long shadows that flickered like warning signs across the desert floor. By the time Earth's military satellites confirmed the source, the signal had already reached the edge of the solar system. Fleets monitored the pulse with growing unease, their command centers glowing with the reflection of countless tactical holograms. The data was strange, alien, yet precise. Every calculation suggested not just intelligence, but intent. On the Zarian homeworld, the engineers laughed. They didn't notice the anomaly, didn't sense the danger rippling across the stars. To them, Earth was a distant curiosity, a blinking point of light to be observed. Yet, their greeting had landed like a flare in human minds, bright, impossible to ignore, and terrifying in its misinterpretation. Back on Earth, Dr. Miles' voice rose over the chatter. "We have to assume this is hostile. Prepare the planetary defenses." Silence hung for a heartbeat, heavy as gravity. Then the low roar of the alert systems filled the observatory as satellites adjusted, weapons arrays came online, and fleets oriented themselves toward the dark, waiting heavens. No one could have predicted the chaos a simple misdialed signal would unleash. Humans stared into the void, hearts racing. Somewhere out there, the aliens were unaware they had just triggered the first spark of interstellar fire. The desert wind howled, rattling the windows, as if the planet itself was warning them. Somewhere, hidden among the stars, a deadly conversation had already begun, and humanity, oblivious to the true intent, was about to answer. The pulse from the alien probe didn't waver, it grew stronger, slicing through the darkness of space like a needle of light aimed straight at Earth. In orbital command, Admiral Cale Rourke stood rigid beneath the glowing panels of the war room. Screens projected the probe's trajectory, each line of data like a heartbeat counting down to the unknown. "Options," he demanded, voice steady but tight. A young officer tapped a holographic map, showing the probe's approach. "It's small, but fast. Our satellites confirm it's sending continuous pulses. Unknown composition, possibly energy-based weaponry." Rourke's jaw tightened. "Unknown doesn't mean harmless. Lock, target acquisition. Prepare the defense grid." Initiate warning pulse. Outside, satellites and orbital weapons arrays adjusted with mechanical precision. Ion cannons and laser turrets glowed faintly, reflections painting streaks across Earth's orbit. The world below remained oblivious, cities glowing softly as night fell. Yet above, human eyes traced invisible paths of light and energy, ready to unleash fire if provoked. Down in the desert observatory, Dr. Alara Miles stared at the readouts. Her voice broke the tense silence. We don't know what they're capable of. It could be communication or a test. Either way, we can't take chances. With a precise hum, Earth's first response pulse launched a ribbon of light, threading through space. It wasn't meant to destroy. It was meant to warn, to say, "We see you. We are ready." But the aliens misread it. On the Zarian system, engineers stared at the sudden flare on their monitors. Their jubilation froze. The greeting had been met with a powerful, unambiguous reply. To them, it was an attack, a strike from a civilization they had assumed fragile and unarmed. Towers of crystalline metal vibrated with panic as alarms blinked. Energy flares lit the cities like exploding fireworks. They're hostile. One engineer shrieked. They are responding. Prepare defensive formations. The miscommunication escalated into chaos. Alien warships powered up with blinding energy arcs, engines casting streaks of molten light across the void. What should have been a friendly exchange had turned into a deadly misinterpretation. Back on Earth, Admiral Rourke watched the alien formations flicker into view on the screens. They were unlike anything humanity had cataloged, sleek, angular, and glowing with raw energy. But they moved in predictable patterns. Humans could exploit that. Targeting arrays on standby, he said, fingers hovering over controls. Do not fire until they breach the exclusion zone. Maintain communications monitoring. We're sending a second pulse, clear firm. Make them understand we defend our world. As the warning pulse fired, arcs of energy braided through space, illuminating the alien vessels. For the first time, the aliens hesitated. Their sensors caught something strange. Earth's readiness, its coordination. The silent precision of a planet unafraid. Suspense gripped both sides. On Earth, a cold realization settled in. This wasn't merely a probe, it was the start of something far larger. For the aliens, dread-filled crystalline halls. Their perceived victims were clever, organized, and willing to strike first, if needed. In orbit, satellites hummed in tense synchrony. Below, humans slept unaware. The normalcy of night, hiding the planetary defense grid, now humming to life. Every pulse, every adjustment, every moment was a dance of survival. The first alien scouts breached Earth's orbit like silent predators, sleek shadows cutting through the void. Their hulls shimmered with a faint, otherworldly glow, reflecting starlight in fractured patterns, almost beautiful if beauty could kill. Admiral Cale Rourke's fingers hovered over the control console, the low hum of orbital defenses vibrating through the command deck. All units, engage targeting protocols, he commanded. This is no drill, no hesitation. Fire only when fired upon, but prepare to respond with everything. Below, Dr. Alara Miles monitored every flicker of alien energy on her displays. The pulse patterns were rapid, chaotic, and intelligent. Each scout moved with uncanny precision, probing weak points in the human orbital shield. One miscalculation could send debris raining down on cities below, and then it happened. A streak of plasma lanced from a scout, slicing across the darkness with molten brilliance. The void itself seemed to tremble as it tore through one of Earth's orbital monitoring satellites. Sparks erupted, spinning debris like deadly shooting stars. Alarm klaxons blared across command centers worldwide. Return fire, Rourke barked. Human ION cannons activated. Beams of concentrated energy arced across the blackness, striking the first scout. The ship shuddered, its hull glowing brighter than molten metal, and then fragments scattered across orbit. tiny pieces reflecting Earth's distant light, like scattered fireflies. The remaining scouts paused. For the first time, the aliens hesitated. Humans were precise, ruthless in their response, calculating each strike with intelligence they had not expected. The scouts repositioned, firing bursts of plasma in erratic patterns. But Earth's orbital defenses danced around them with perfect coordination. In the observatory, Dr. Miles' eyes reflected the light from her monitors. "They're adapting," she whispered. "But they're not prepared for what we can do." A second wave of alien ships entered orbit. Larger, more heavily armed, they radiated menace, engines flaring like molten suns. The view from space was terrifying. Streaks of energy crisscrossing the darkness, occasional explosions lighting the void with violent brilliance. For Earth's humans, the reality of combat in orbit was surreal, beautiful, deadly, and horrifying all at once. Rourke's voice cut through the chaos. "Deploy drones to intercept flanking maneuvers. Keep the perimeter tight. Do not let them get close to Earth's surface." Human drones whirred to life, darting toward alien vessels with astonishing speed. Each drone's small energy pulse chipped away at the hulls of the scouts, creating sparks that drifted like fire across the void. The alien ships responded with erratic fire, forcing drones to twist and dive in impossible arcs. And then, a scout exploded too close to another, the shockwave rippling through the vacuum, knocking systems offline for half a heartbeat. That momentary vulnerability could have been catastrophic. Earth's satellites trembled, but Rourke's teams adjusted instantly. The humans had a plan, and their plan worked. Precision over raw power, strategy over fear. The scouts faltered, their formations breaking. For the first time, the aliens seemed unsure of themselves. For the first time in centuries, the Zarian Council felt unease. Their crystalline towers, normally pulsing with serene light, glimmered with a frantic rhythm. Screens displayed the fragments of scouts, lost to a species they had assumed primitive, a civilization they had written off as incapable of organized retaliation. Commander Thlix, the Council's youngest war strategist, paced the observation deck, his elongated shadows stretching across polished floors. "They are responding," he said, voice low but sharp, with precision, coordination, and restraint. "It is unexpected." Around him, senior engineers whispered frantically, attempting to decode the human response. Every probe, every strike, every defensive maneuver broadcast a singular truth. These humans were more than fragile. They were clever, adaptable, and fearless. "Do you think they can match our fleets?" one engineer asked, eyes wide. Thalix's gaze didn't leave the holographic projection of Earth's orbital grid. "I do not yet know. But if this is their first real strike, I fear what comes next. They may not just defend, they may dominate." Back on Earth, the night sky over the Atacama Observatory shimmered with quiet urgency. Dr. Alara Miles and her team monitored alien transmissions, each signal analyzed and decrypted, revealing panic buried beneath the static. The humans could see it now. The aliens were not invincible. Every tactical choice, every hesitation, became data to exploit. Ilara leaned forward, voice hushed but intense. "They're trying to understand us. They don't anticipate our coordination. This is our advantage. But we have to be ready. They'll regroup." As she spoke, a new blip appeared on the orbital displays, larger alien warships emerging from the shadows of deep space, massive vessels bristling with energy weapons, moving in formation like predators closing in on prey. Their presence alone bent starlight, casting faint, eerie reflections across satellites and orbital arrays. Rourke watched the blips grow, each vessel dwarfing the combined weight of human orbital defense stations. The room was tense, quiet, except for the low hum of machinery and the occasional beep of incoming data. "They're coming," he said simply, "and they're bringing the real fire." On Earth, preparations escalated. Fleets repositioned, weapons charged, drones deployed, in protective swarms. The tension was palpable, a silent promise of the violence to come. Humans trained, planned, and waited not with fear, but with purpose. Every officer, every pilot, every scientist knew what was at stake. Survival. Far across the stars. The Zarian commanders hesitated. Their miscalculated greeting had sparked a confrontation they had not expected. Pride and curiosity were replaced by dread. They had underestimated the humans' and that error would cost them dearly. In orbit, the void remained silent, almost eerily calm. But the calm was a lie. Beneath the serene backdrop of stars, both civilizations prepared for what could not be undone. One pulse, one move, one decision could ignite the sky in fire. The void ignited. Alien warships, massive and shimmering with raw energy, converged on Earth's orbit. Their engines painted streaks of molten light across the darkness, like comets of destruction on a collision course. Admiral Cale Rourke's command deck hummed with controlled chaos. Every station was active, every officer poised like a chess master in a storm. All units, hold formation. Let them come to us. Focus fire on engine cores. Mobility first. From the observation deck, Dr. Alara Miles watched the alien vessels through enhanced sensors. Her voice, steady but urgent, cut through the tension. They're faster than the scouts, but their patterns are predictable. We can exploit it, but timing is everything. The first volley of alien plasma tore through the void, bright streaks of energy slicing toward Earth's defenses. Satellites shuddered under the heat, laser turrets flared, and drones darted through the beams like swarms of silver fish. Sparks and fragments danced across orbit, reflecting starlight in a deadly ballet. Rourke gritted his teeth. Return fire. Focus on the leading wing. Human ion cannons flared, sending concentrated beams ripping through the lead alien vessel. Its hull buckled under precise strikes, energy flares rippling across its surface. But the aliens adapted instantly, twisting formation, firing in unpredictable bursts, forcing Earth's defenses to twist and pivot. Adjust drone vectors, intercept flanking units. Ilara shouted. Her team's hands moved with fluid precision, feeding targeting data to orbital drones that swarmed like metallic wasps. Each drone chipped away at alien armor, distracting weapon systems long enough for the ion cannons to strike critical nodes. The first collision of human ingenuity against alien technology exploded across space. Fragments of alien hulls spun outward, reflecting distant city lights, as if Earth itself was marking victories. But for every ship destroyed, two more pressed forward, relentless and angry. Suddenly, a massive alien frigate accelerated toward Earth's outer orbital ring. Its energy pulse crackled like a miniature sun, threatening to vaporize satellites in its path. Rourke's hands flew over the controls. Activate plasma interceptors. Channel all energy to the perimeter. Drones darted forward, weaving in intricate patterns, drawing fire away from vulnerable satellites. Human engineers guided each shot, predicting alien movements with uncanny accuracy. The frigate faltered, its energy pulse dispersing in a blinding display of sparks. Yet the aliens were learning. Their formations twisted, engines flaring erratically, trying to outmaneuver Earth's defenses. The void became a chaotic theater of fire and light, shadows of destruction dancing across the darkness. Ilara's voice cut through the tension. Calm but sharp. They'll test us again. Every loss they take teaches them how. Next move must outthink, not overpower. Rourke nodded. And that's exactly what they won't expect. From the shadows beyond orbit, more alien warships emerged, larger than anything Earth had anticipated. But humans were ready, satellites aligned. Drones swarmed in coordinated grids, ion cannons pulsing in deadly rhythm. The stage was set for a battle that would decide dominance of the heavens above Earth. The alien fleet hovered like a dark storm above Earth, massive holes glowing with lethal energy. For the first time, the invaders sensed that the humans were not simply defending, they were preparing to retaliate. Admiral Cale Rourke studied the formation through his tactical screens. "We've baited them," he said, voice tight with focus. "They think they have the advantage. They don't know we've been mapping their energy signatures. Today, we hit back." In the orbital command deck, the hum of human machinery was matched by the tension in the air. Dr. Alara Miles leaned over the displays, pointing at patterns of alien movement. Their shields fluctuate rhythmically. If we synchronize ion cannon bursts, we can overload their defenses. Timing is everything. Below, in the lower orbit, the first human strike drones surged forward, weaving like silver shadows through alien fire. Each pulse from their energy cores created openings in the enemy lines, while plasma interceptors followed precise trajectories to disable weapon systems. The void seemed alive with sparks, explosions, and the metallic scent of destruction. Then, the humans unleashed the next stage. Covert assault pods, carrying the most advanced electromagnetic disruptors ever built, surged toward alien vessels. Silent, fast, and near invisible, they struck like hunters from the shadows. A pulse emitted from one pod sent a cascading chain reaction. Alien shields flickered, engines stuttered, and several ships spun out of formation. Drifting helplessly, Rourke's voice cut through the tension. "All units focus on the fractured wing. Push them back. Let them know we are not prey." The human fleet moved with synchronized precision, every drone, satellite, and cannon acting as one organism. Ion beams sliced through enemy hulls, explosions, reflecting against the backdrop of distant stars, casting shards of light like a celestial fireworks display. From deep space, the Zarian commanders scrambled. They adapt too quickly. They predict our moves, increase firepower, overwhelm them. But humans were already one step ahead, using gravity-assisted maneuvers. Earth's satellites hurled kinetic projectiles with pinpoint accuracy, colliding with alien frigates at high velocity. Explosions ripped through the void, sending fragments spinning into neighboring vessels, creating chaos in the alien ranks. In orbit, Dr. Miles' eyes glimmered with determination. "They thought Earth was defenseless," she said, voice steady. "They thought we'd hide. They were wrong. Every strike we make, we reclaim what is ours, our sky, our planet, our right to survive." Amidst the chaos, Admiral Rourke issued the decisive order. "Deploy the prototype orbital railguns. Target the alien command vessel. Let's show them what humanity is capable of." The railgun charged, a metallic hum building to a roar. Energy arced along its barrel, and with a deafening release, a massive projectile shot into the void. It struck the alien command vessel with precision, a blinding flash lighting up space. The explosion echoed through orbit like a thunderclap, scattering the enemy fleet. The void grew unnervingly silent. The alien fleet, battered and scattered, retreated toward deep space. Humanity's orbital forces hovered in tense anticipation, sensors scanning for any sign of counterattack. But the calm was deceptive. From the darkness beyond, a shadow emerged, an alien vessel, unlike any humans had encountered. Massive, angular, and bristling with unknown weaponry. It glowed faintly with a sinister energy that seemed to warp the starlight around it. Every sensor alarmed instantly. This was not a ship, it was a planet killer, a war machine born to extinguish worlds. Admiral Rourke's face tightened. "That's impossible. They've been holding this in reserve. It's too late." "For hesitation," interrupted Dr. Alara Miles. Her eyes flicked over the readouts, scanning the alien weapon's energy output and shield patterns. "If that thing reaches orbit, Earth is gone in minutes. We have one chance. Above Earth, fleets and drones moved like an intricate web, each unit poised to intercept, distract, or defend. The orbital railguns, ion cannons, and plasma interceptors were calibrated to their maximum. Satellites shuttled into high-speed trajectories to create decoys, projecting false energy signatures to mislead the alien war machine. The first pulse hit. Energy waves rippled across space, striking human defense satellites with the force of a hurricane. Explosions lit up orbit, debris spinning into the void. Humans scrambled, recalibrating defenses in real time. Rourke clenched his jaw. We can't stop it, head on, not yet. Prepare the stealth strike. Pod Zalara, you lead the infiltration team. Precision is everything. One shot, one strike, or we're finished. Ilara nodded, determination in her eyes. We've waited for this moment. They underestimated our ingenuity. That's our advantage. Let's use it. In near-orbital darkness, stealth pods surged forward. Human engineers had exploited the alien ship's blind spots, calculating entry points with exquisite precision. Inside each pod, elite pilots navigated through a maze of energy shields, debris, and automated defense drones. Every move carried the weight of Earth itself. The first pods reached the vessel's flank. Electromagnetic disruptors activated, sending a pulse that sliced through armor plating and destabilized energy conduits. Sparks erupted, systems faltered, and alarms blared inside the alien machine. But the alien warship adapted rapidly. Its weapon arrays turned with lightning speed, firing concentrated beams that tore through decoys and debris alike. Explosions erupted, illuminating the void in flashes of orange and blue. Rourke's command deck trembled under the strain of constant impact. Focus fire. Protect the pods. Every ion beam, every railgun shot coordinate. Inside the alien vessel, the humans fought through automated defenses, navigating corridors of humming energy fields to reach the core. Ilara's hands moved deftly, overriding systems and planting charges at the heart of the war machine. Every second brought Earth closer to annihilation or salvation. Finally, with a controlled detonation, the alien weapons shuddered violently. Energy conduits burst in brilliant arcs, shields faltered, and the massive warship began to spin uncontrollably, its trajectory veering into deep space. Humanity had struck true. The void above Earth shimmered with the aftermath of battle. Scorched fragments of alien vessels drifted silently, glowing faintly like dying stars. Humanity's orbital fleet hovered cautiously, every sensor scanning for the next threat. They had survived the first waves, outwitted the superweapon. But the Zarian were patient and ruthless. Admiral Cale Rourke stood at the command deck, eyes fixed on the dark horizon beyond Earth. They're regrouping, he said, voice steady, yet heavy with tension. And they're sending a message. But we're not hiding anymore. Not now. Not ever. Dr. Ilara Miles leaned over the tactical readouts. We've learned from them. Their arrogance is their weakness. They believe Earth is insignificant. That mistake will be their undoing. Sensors detected movement beyond the scattered wreckage of fleet, coalescing from deep space. Engines glowing like molten rivers against the black. The Zarian were returning, larger and more formidable than ever. Yet, for the first time, fear lingered in their ranks. Earth was no longer a passive target. Rourke's voice cut through the tension, commanding and sharp. All units, engage full strategy protocol. Focus fire on command ships. Drones, intercept flanking vessels. Prepare orbital railguns for synchronized volleys. This ends tonight. The battle erupted like a storm of fire and steel. Alien warships advanced in twisted formations, plasma beams tearing through space. Earth's satellites unleashed countermeasures, guiding swarms of drones that moved like synchronized predators, overwhelming weapon arrays and diverting fire from vulnerable positions. Ilara watched as one alien frigate surged forward, energy pulsating, intent on breaching Earth's atmosphere. Not if we have anything to say about it, she muttered, launching a swarm of stealth strike pods. They darted through the void, invisible threads of silver against the black, weaving through beams of alien fire With surgical precision, the pods struck, deploying electromagnetic disruptors that crippled shields and destabilized engines. Human ion cannons, timed to perfection, fired in unison, piercing armor and scattering alien vessels like shattered glass. Explosions reflected across the void, brilliant and chaotic, illuminating the black canvas of space in dazzling waves of orange, blue, and white. The alien command ship, massive and bristling with energy, attempted one final assault. Its weapons fired simultaneously in a deadly barrage. Rourke gritted his teeth. Divert all power to forward defenses. Keep the pods alive. This is the moment. Inside the stealth pods, human pilots executed precise maneuvers, threading through firestorms, planting charges at critical nodes. Sparks danced across the alien vessel as systems collapsed one by one. Finally, the command ship convulsed violently and exploded, its hull fracturing in a spectacle of fire and debris that cascaded through orbit. For the first time, the alien fleet wavered. They faltered, then began a retreat, scattering into the darkness of distant space. Earth had not just survived, had struck fear into the heart of the invaders. Rourke exhaled slowly, looking out at the stars. They miscalculated. They underestimated humanity, and they'll remember. Alara smiled, tired but resolute. We answered with fire, and we reminded the galaxy why Earth cannot be ignored.